Hello and welcome to Teching It Up with Mark. Today we're going to be looking at a K2 SmartForm, and we are going to be moving a view inside a view. Now we have here a basic view or a form with a title and a view, an item view to add a course, which we have here, the title, description, the level of the course, and the semester it is. In addition, we have this attachments. Normally in K2, you would see this in its own separate window here because K2 natively out of the box doesn't give you an option to move that view within a view. But here, with a little bit of a help from a JavaScript embedded into the form, we are going to be able to add that within the view within a view to get a little bit more of a smoother look here and better look and feel. So let's start off. So here you can see that I have my add courses item view and I have a list view for attachments. So for each course that we make, there will be several attachments that we have here. Now these are just two ordinary views backed by two K2 SmartBox Smart Objects. What I have to do to move these, and as a reminder, everything within the form is HTML. It's rendered as HTML. We can see it here. When I go through the sources, we see that this view, let me just close this down here. This row here, well, everything's in different rows, but within the row, we have a class of a view right here, which can be moved around. Now to demonstrate that within the HTML right now, I'll just move this up here, and I can see that's moved there. We can use this to programmatically move this around to where we need when we need to do it. So we'll do this in a couple of in one way. So first, let me refresh the page. What we have to do is build a script to move this, and then we have to build a target of where to move it to. So the first thing we would like to do is see if we can find some information about this view, specifically the view we are trying to move. I'll do that by clicking there, going up a little bit in this tree. We're still not there. View. Okay, it looks like we have some information here. Visible grading. The name, the view attachments. Now, if I go to my K2 Designer, I have one where this is already completed. I'll check out my form. And indeed, when I click on this view, I can see that I named the view attachments here. So for example, if I needed to change that, it would show up there in the proper form. Since I have a copy of this form, this would actually be in the other form too. Actually, no, that's in the correct one. So the view attachments will say modified. And we'll save that. Now if I refresh the form, go ahead one more time, so this is actually saved here, I can still see that I have this. So what we're going to have to do is get a selector for this element in JavaScript. So we can select by any properties, but name is an easy enough property. So if we go to the console here, we can test this out. And I already have a script written for this, where we take, here we go. Here we have the jQuery element here for name. So the property of name here from the HTML element equals to view attachments. Since if I try this now and run it, I can see I have a length of 0, so it looks like nothing was returned, but that is of course because we modified this name here. So if I change this to view attachments modified, or if I take that here from the element, just the same piece of text. Alright, now I'll go back to the console, put this in for a name, and we have something different back. So now we have an object. Well, actually, it's a JSON object. And at element 0 here, we have the object itself that we want, our view. Now there's quite a lot of extra information in there, but if we put a 0 into there to index that out, we can see that it prints out actually the HTML that we have in the other view. So great, we have that now. Now what do we want to do with it? We want to move that. So we can move this to the end of the page, we can move this to the beginning of the page, but specifically we want to put that in another view. So the way that I did this before is by first establishing a target. Oh, there was a preview. So in this attachments view, I added a data label here. It might be a little bit faint. We'll go directly to it. DL attachments view holder. Okay, so if I go back to my form, although we can't see it here, we know that it should be somewhere in here. And more importantly, if I go to my console and we try to find that element by name, so we'll try to type it out live here, calling jQuery name. Oh, first we need a bracket. Name equals to double quotes now. DL attachments view holder. Okay, make sure everything's squared off nice. Another bracket. Run that. Looks like we have something, as we can see by a spot, an element in spot 0. So I'm just going to index that into that. Confirm. Great. So now we have the selector for the view we want, and we have the selector for where we want to move it into the target. Now all we have to do is add a line to actually move it. jQuery offers a number of selectors to move an element before or after. So what I'm going to do here is take what we had before, view attachments modified, and I'm going to say insert after. And now we need the other selector for our name. So let's put that in. Looks like it moved. Awesome. Now there was one little spot of cleanup that I did before in the script that I'll add again here. Now if I go and select this, I can see that it moved the element in the span like it should, but there was one leftover bit here, and I'll show you that in a second. If we go to our rows, you may have noticed before, yes, here. We see this view element is here too. So our selector, let's refresh this page again. Our selector was selecting this element in particular, but it would probably make more sense to select the whole view, as this seems like the proper thing to move around, or the proper thing. So to do that too, we can use another jQuery piece. Dot closest. And then we want our selector here, so we'll do dot view. This searches the tree, the HTML tree up. And we have something div view. Nice. We'll just print it out. Make sure we got the whole HTML that we want. Great. Now we have that. We have the inner panel and everything there. So we just not messing with as much things as we have. So now we have that closest view. Now I'm going to put the insert after there. So after, and to our data label that we had before. So I just had this. Well, we'll type it out. put in double quotes, close the whole thing off at first, and we'll put in everything with square brackets, name equals, and now we need the name of our data label, so DL attachments view holder. All right, now if we do this, run this line in the console, awesome. We see that it's working as expected. So I'm just going to copy this line, close this up, go back to our designer, and now add the script to the form. So I'll put this in the data label. I'll label the data label. Move view script. And this will execute on page render. Now within K2, we always have to put it within script tags here if we're adding it directly to the page script. So we have that there. Add that in. Make sure to make that as literal. Save the changes. Refresh. Great. Now we see that our view is there as desired. So that was it. I'll have a link to the script in the description. Just make sure to do 1, you have to add the script. 2, you should name the view within the page, so that's easier to find when you select the elements. 3, add the attachments view DL or data label somewhere to move that to. I suppose it doesn't have to be a data label, but that's the easiest one to do. Also remember that although this view is within another view, K2 itself doesn't know that. Always interact with it as if it was another view with a form. All right, thank you. Hope you enjoyed.